Hello everybody, this is Yoko's Anime Reactions, and let's see how this goes. Winter begins. The day after I returned home, Let's and I went to Benno's store together. Snow was sprinkling here and there, but if we didn't go to Benno's before the snow built up, I would lose my opportunity to report my recovery and thank him for his help. Benno's been super worried, mind. He was convinced that the Guildmaster was tricking you somehow, or putting you in a bad spot. Oh, maybe he heard me calling for his help. When Frida's family had me surrounded, I cried for Benno's help on the inside. Maybe I said some weird brainwaves that he picked up on or something. Let's frowned at my suggestion and glared at me. You didn't ask for my help? Oh, why'd you say that? Seeing Letz's pouty face made ticklish laughter build up inside of me. I ended up giggling and his mouth bit into a sharper frown. Why are you laughing? You already saved me. Let's blinked in surprise and looked completely stunned, which made me giggle more. You told Frida I was going to get sick if I kept moving around, right? Thanks to that, I got enough rest, avoided eating dinner with them, and basically everything went a lot better. Huh, is that right? Let's give a pleased grin, squeezed my hand a bit, and took a step forward. It felt to me like the wind had calmed down a bit too, as less snow was hitting me on the face. Good morning. Hello, Maya. It's good to see you healthy again. Benno's store was warm and full of energy. We let out sighs of relief as we went inside, and Mark quickly walked up to us. Despite the snow, it felt like his store had just as many customers as always. Which was strange, since the hasty workshops had already closed for the winter. I looked around, murmuring those observations, and Mark smiled. Our store profits the most during winter. With blizzards came more days where you couldn't work, so I had thought winter was a season where most people tightened their purse strings and lived as frugally as possible, but it seemed that wasn't the case. Well, duh, poor people do. The nobles grow bored while snowed in, and their purses loosen to a surprising degree when presented with opportunities to kill time. Oh, I get it. Leisure products. Video game consoles were slightly outside of my reach, but a bunch of card-based games I was used to, like Hanafuda, Karata, and Western playing games, ran through my head. It might be smart to make those when I had the chance. Probably be a good idea. For now, though, my thoughts were interrupted by Let's pulling on my sleeve. Did you just think of something to sell? Well, maybe if we had paper. Thin pieces of wood could function as cards, but a proper set of cards would need to be cut fairly thin with similar dimensions. That wouldn't be a problem if I could just hire a woodsmith to cut the cards. But I wanted to at least wait until my baptism before breaking that. I think things up, Let's makes them set up. Could Let's cut thin pieces of wood? And I hadn't seen any paint in this world yet. It probably existed given that people use dyes, but it was beyond me or anyone I know to color playing cards properly. With some ink and wood, it shouldn't be impossible to make shogi or reversi. But playing cards were ideal since there were so many games you could play with a single set. Yeah, there is true. There's Old Maid, there's Go Fish, there's, there's Blackjack, there's all sorts of card games you could play with just a single deck of playing cards. I was apparently taken to Benno's office while I was thinking to myself, and before I knew it, he was staring right into my face. You back in the game, mine? Yes, sorry for worrying you, I replied, blinking in surprise. Benno furrowed his brows suspiciously and didn't stop staring at me. Sir, mine's fine. She's not sick, she was just thinking about something. Benno was finally convinced by Letz's assurance, and he stood up straight. He sat us at the table near the fireplace and let out a heavy sigh. It took a lot of prying for that old geezer to give up one of those magic tools he got for his granddaughter. To be honest, I had to gamble on him using it on you at all. Oh, it turns out that the Guildmaster wanted to trick me into working for him. If I didn't have the money to pay for it, he would have had me switch to his store to pay off the debt. Yeah, figures. That's why I paid you all those golds earlier. Benno grinned confidently. I nodded, then revealed how he had been tricked. Right, but it looks like he told you they were worth 1 gold and 2 large silvers, when in reality, they were worth 2 gold and 8 large silver. That freaking geezer. I was really relieved when my savings just barely managed to cover it. Both Frida and the Guildmaster hadn't expected that at all. They were really surprised when I managed to pay. I added after Benno scratched his head with frustration and groaned. For a second, he froze in surprise, then grinned to himself. Oh yeah, I upped the price. Good. Their suffering is good enough for me, but don't let your guard down around that family. They'll eat a dimwit with no sense of danger like you alive. I figured it was best that I report to Benno what this little dimwit with no sense of danger had done. Oh, no. However, I wanted to put off him yelling at me, so I kind of worded it in a long-winded way. Mr. Benno, I have a question. How developed is the sweets culture in this area? What are you talking about? Benno glared at me with his dark red eyes and explained, adding excuses as I went. Where I live, people don't really eat many sweet things. We have honey, fruits, and brews in the winter, but that's about it. So, Mr. Benno, it may be a silly question for me to ask, but Frida had sugar in her home. Is that rare? Despite the fact that my family didn't have sugar, it was very possible that wealthy people generally did. Still, though, I wanted a hard answer from someone more informed than me, and if possible, I would like for him to tell me that the better part of the city had sugar, even if we poor people couldn't afford it. Of course, there was no chance that he would give me that answer that I wanted. It's still rare around these parts. It's only just recently that we started importing it from foreign countries, but it's growing in popularity around the royal capital among nobles. Wait, did you do something again? Yes, she did! Yes, she did! She made pound cake! She made us sweet, and now Frida's got the recipe for it. Great! I was building things up so deliberately so that Benno almost immediately noticed what I was getting at. His brows shot up in anger. To sum up what he was saying, sugar itself was starting to be popular among nobles, but not many sweets had been developed from it. One could say that sweets culture was still in its infancy. Pound cake was simple and orthodox, but I had without a doubt gone too far. Yes, you had. I made some pound cake for them, and they really loved it. Oh, right, that stuff. It tasted so good, it was moist and, melted in my mouth. I had never had anything so sweet and... Wait, mine? Liz, who had eaten some of the pound cake himself, glared at me too. Oh, yeah, I knew it. I knew this was going to be bad. Never do anything like that in front of Frida and her family again. Ever! I instinctively knew I had done something I really shouldn't have. I knew it! Why do you always gotta stick your neck out for carnivores like them? Do you want to get eaten alive? If simple pound cake was getting him this furious, I was glad I hadn't made shortcake for them. My decision had been motivated purely by my inexperience with the scales and wood oven, but still, all's well that ends well. I promised to make sweets with Frida, and that was the only way I could think to thank her, so thank her? You paid her, that's enough! Benno was basically saying the same thing Frida had. Merchants expected their prices to be paid, and nothing beyond that was necessary. Aw, Frida said the same thing. Again? How are you going to survive when your enemies have to teach you? Didn't I tell you to pick your battles and be more careful about what will happen if you lose? You thoughtless idiot! No, I never learn. Yes, you don't. You don't learn. But still, isn't it normal to want to thank the person that saved your life? Yes, but you don't give them something that they don't have. Like the pound cake recipe. You thank them in a different way, like spending time with them. That costs nothing. I mean, she did save my life, so basically you're forgetting that the geezer lied to screw you over. I had no argument against that. In the end, he was thinking purely in terms of how money had saved my life and nothing else. I didn't feel the same, but if I had been forced to leave Benno's store and join the Guildmaster store due to debt, my feelings would be a lot more conflicted. Sheesh, they're only letting you get away here because you have the devouring and will probably die before you can do anything special. If they were serious about you, they'd have you on their side before you realize what happened. Don't jump into the fire yourself. I see, that seemed about accurate. I had indeed been thinking that for all their traps, they were a bit loose on the execution. In the end, they were probably just playing around with me a little, figuring that I would either die of the devouring or get snatched up by the nobility. When you say they'd have me on their side before I realized what happened, what exactly were you talking about? The simplest thing would be going straight to your parents and forcing the issue. They wouldn't be able to turn him down after he saved your life. He could bribe you by promising to look after you following your baptism, and it wouldn't be surprising if you ended up betrothed to one of Frida's brothers before you even knew what was happening. Get out. I'm busy. Go. I offered you food before. Not my fault. He's just not doing that because his effort would be wasted if you died a year later. What? That's terrifying. I hugged myself and rubbed my goosebump-covered arms in fear as Benno watched with an exasperated expression on his face. You just figured this out? Mine, you have to learn to recognize the dangers around you. But anyway, did you just give them the finished sweet? I didn't understand the point of Benno's question, so I tilted my head and explained how I made the cake with her. No, I'm not really strong enough to make sweets myself, so I taught Frida's home chef how to make it while helping. They had a lot of pure white flour and sugar, even a real wood-field oven. Is that amazing? Yes, sure, just amazing. So basically they know the whole recipe now. Yep, I knew he'd be mad about that. Benno was holding his head so hard it honestly worried me a little. I really hadn't expected that a little cake I made as a form of thanks would end up causing so many ripples. Dude, you gave them a recipe that nobody else in this world has, and taught them how to make it too. They are going to sell the crap out of that cake now. You just made them a lot of money without even intending to. Only an idiot would give away something worth a lot of money for free, so yeah, you did. We could have sold those to nobles. To be honest, I just didn't understand which products were for nobles and which were for commoners. But I did understand that my cake recipe was worth money. I'd be more careful with recipes in the future. Oh, can't we just have our own shelves make them to sell? They haven't started selling them yet, so getting sugar is still difficult. When I suggested that we could sell the cakes first, Benno gave a clear grimace. But no matter how much he grimaced, I had no way of knowing how difficult it was to import sugar. Purchasing products was part of Benno's business. Well, we just have to give up then. If you have sugar and a shaft that can work a word Evan as well, I'll teach you the pound cake recipe for free too. It sounds like you've got more recipes, said Benno, reading between the lines and giving me a hard look. But all my sweets recipes required sugar. There was no point telling them to somebody with no sugar. You have other recipes, girl, that don't need hardly any sugar or can be substituted with honey or something. Hello? With my newfound knowledge that sweets recipes were worth money, I puffed out my cheeks and smirked. Those will cost you. Be that stubborn around them, not me. He was right, so I replied, I'll try. Weekly, I wasn't used to putting a price on what I did out of goodwill, but I would have to adjust if I wanted to survive as a merchant. Yes! Is that all you've got to report? No, although this is kind of a personal thing. I wouldn't be able to leave home much during the winter, so I probably won't be coming to the store again until spring. That's normal. Don't worry about me. Really, Mark and Benno were more anxious about me collapsing than pretty much anyone else. The store could operate just fine without me, but I felt it necessary to warn them ahead of time that I wouldn't be visiting before they got worried about me. Yeah? What happened to helping Otto? It seemed that Benno thought I went to the gate almost daily during the winter, but that was far from the truth. My family would never let me push myself like that. I only go to the gate about 10 times over the whole winter since I can only leave if it's sunny, there's no blizzard, I'm feeling fine, and my dad has morning or noon shift at work. Are you even going to be healthy enough to do work after your baptism? Honestly, I don't know, and it kind of scares me. Benno looked pretty apprehensive, but really I wanted to know that more than he did. Was there any job I would be capable of doing? Looks like you better think about what you want to do. So how are you going to sell your winter handiwork? I'd like to have some on hand as the spring baptism gets closer. My initial plan had been to sell them all once spring came, but that wouldn't be giving him enough time before the spring baptism ceremony. The ones we had made in a rush for the winter baptism had already been sold, and he barely had any left in stock. I'll keep an eye on the weather and bring them when the weather's good, sir. But since we gather Perus on sunny days, I'll probably only come on cloudy days. Oh yeah, Perus. That's nostalgic. I loved my Peru juice back in the day. Benno gave a nostalgic smile. He must have gone Peru gathering in the past as well. I smiled a bit, imagining a young Benno splitting his spoils with Karina. Let's grinned himself, probably thinking about the Perus he was going to eat. I'm definitely going to make some Peru cakes again this year, he said. Peru cakes? What are those? Uh-oh. But this is before you met Benno, so you can't get mad about that. Peru cakes? What are those? Benno narrowed his eyes. A cold sweat ran down my back as I thought about how I had spread the Peru cake. Like I said, this is before you met Benno, so don't get mad about that. The Peru cake recipe for free. Maybe we should keep that recipe our little secret. We don't want to lose our chance to get Perus for ourselves. Peru leftovers weren't fit for human consumption. They were animal food, or at least that's what people believed. And it's thanks to the misunderstanding that they traded them to Lutz for eggs. If I knew how much they were really worth, the Peru leftovers would get a lot more expensive really fast. That would be a problem not just for us, but for everyone who relied on them to feed their animals in the winter. Oh yeah, it's a treat just for us, our little secret. By the time we finished our discussion and left Benno's store, snow had begun to build up along the sides of the road. I let out a tiny sigh. Snow meant I couldn't go outside. Looks like it's time for us to be shut-ins again. Lutz looked at the build-up snow angrily and gave a tiny nod. His home life had been so rocky that even his mother was complaining about it to me. And it was beyond a shadow of a doubt that Lutz was feeling a lot worse about it than she was. Winter forced Lutz to stay inside, and I could imagine that it was a miserable time for him. Hey, Let's, why don't you get your study tools together and come to my place every couple of days? The best I could do to help Let's was offer him an occasional breather. If he came every day, his family would just treat him worse. And he would need a reason for visiting me so often. We could pass it off as him showing me their progress on making sticks. Let's' expression lit up a bit at my suggestion. Yeah, sounds good, thanks. A number of snow days increased and fewer people were walking the roads. To fight back against the cold, most families stayed holed up at home and rarely went outside just like last year. Dad was a soldier who had to keep working at the gate year-round, but he didn't get those days off. He had work on snowy days and was rarely at home. Whenever Tuli had spare time at home, she took the opportunity to work on hairpins. She took it more seriously than her basket making from last year, since each was worth so much more money. Mom was equally interested, but she had to prioritize making our clothes. First came my special outfit since my baptism was this year. Mom, can't we just stitch up what Tuli wore last year? Tuli had grown much more over the past year. The special outfit she wore for her baptism last summer was absolutely deadlessly tight on her now. As far as I could tell, it would save a lot of time just to fix up the outfit that she had barely ever worn. Tuli's so much bigger than you that even just reworking it would be a hassle, said Mom with a wry smile. Normally, a family wouldn't have to make multiple dresses for special occasions. Handing down a single outfit from sibling to sibling was standard. But Tuli and I were just too different in size. Tuli looked about 8 or 9 when she was 7, and I looked about 4 or 5. It was honestly impossible for us to wear the same clothes. I tried putting it on by the hearth, but it hung from my arms, and the dress that stopped around my knees went all the way to my ankles. But I think if we pulled up the bottom of the skirt, we could make it shorter and add some cute-looking frills. Maybe we could add little flowers at the folds? Mind, that's more than a little remaking. It'll end up looking super fancy. Tuli giggled at my suggestion. When the size had to be completely changed like this, it was considered standard to undo all the thread, cut the cloth to its new size, and then redo all the sewing. I was weird for suggesting that we pinch the clothes up and add decorations to hide the seams. This is definitely a case where I should just keep my mouth shut and not try to push my luck. Oh, okay. We don't want the dress to look so fancy that it sticks out. I was thinking that if we just fold the cloth, we could undo the stitches we made to make it longer and keep it using it when I get older, but only people with money to spare used more cloth than they needed. Frilly clothes with pleats needed extra cloth, so generally only rich people wore them. The same applied to decorations on clothes, which required spare materials we generally didn't have, which was exactly why Tuli's outfit had been made to fit her perfectly. I fell silent, thinking that despite the convenience here, frills would stick out too much. But despite my hesitation, Mom seemed oddly enthusiastic about my idea. She grabbed onto my shoulders and smiled. I think that's a great idea, sweetie. If it doesn't work, we could just remake it like we normally would, okay? Well, now nothing I say will change her mind. I hope I have time to help her with this on top of making my hairpins, tutoring Lutz, cooking. I sure am a lot busier than I was last winter. Yeah, you were. Naturally, there was no way I could escape Mom when she got excited about something. Despite relocating by the hearth, I was wearing nothing but Tuli's summer outfit, and thus my weak body caught a cold while we discussed how to fold and tuck it. Achoo! Hold on, how far have I gotten? I don't know what the heck. Of my outfit and hairpin. My temperature finally went down 2 days after I had caught a fever. Remaking the outfit would be a lot riskier than I had suspected. At this rate, I would catch another fever before Mom was finished. With those thoughts in mind, I climbed out of bed and went looking for Mom. In the kitchen, I saw the table pulled up close to the hearth with Mom and Tuli making progress on their handiwork. It seemed that she couldn't work on the outfit while I was out of commission and had shifted her focus to the handiwork instead. Oh, hello, Mine. Has your fever gone down? That's perfect. We can get back to reworking your outfit. Mom cleaned up her handiwork somewhat regretfully and spread out the outfit. Where's Dad? Is he on morning shift? Noon shift, but so much snow fell he left early. The city guard was also assigned to clearing the main road of snow. They received special pay for their work, but Dad always grumbled over his beer that the pay didn't match how exhausting it was. Okay, Mine, please put it on. I flinched a little at the sight of the thin, short-sleeved outfit. If I wore it like Mom wanted, I would end up with another fever, hearth or no hearth. Mom, can I at least wear a long-sleeved shirt underneath it? The clothes wouldn't be a perfect fit if you do that, sweetie. That's fine, I'll get bigger by the time summer comes around. Mom put a hand on her cheek and looked at me dubiously. She looked over me as if thinking back to how much I had grown over the past, and sighed. I understand how you feel, Mine, but that doesn't seem very likely. At least say you believe in me, Mom. Still, she allowed me to wear a long-sleeved shirt underneath that outfit so that I wouldn't catch another cold. Your shoulders are what don't match the most. What should we do about that? Mom was right. When I put on Tuli's special outfit, the most loose and unsightly part ended up being the shoulders. So I tried scrunching them up, and this transformed the outfit into an off-shoulder dress that looked nice. Had nice loops around the tops of my outfit. Now we just need to make shoulder straps out of string or pieces of cloth. If we had any scraps of cloth left over from when you first made this, it'll be a perfect fit. If not, blue string should work. It'll match the sash and embroidery just fine. I have some left over, yes. Plenty for shoulder straps. Mom went and got some scraps of cloth from the cloth basket. After twisting it into a string shape, she sewed it onto the shoulders of my outfit. The dress that once slipped off my shoulders became an off-shoulder camisole. Perfect, now it won't fall off your shoulders. Mom nodded in satisfaction and furrowed her brows and pointed at the armpit of the outfit. Due to bundling of the cloth around the shoulders, the rippling cloth that ended up gathering by the armpit. Mom, the armpit looks terrible with all that cloth in it. What can we do about that? Well, I'm going to be wearing a wide sash, so I don't think a little extra cloth by the armpit is a problem. No, it looks terrible. Okay, then, what if we sew them into proper pleats? It'll take time, but I think it'd look really cute. I tried taking the apparently terrible-looking cloth by the armpit and putting it into 3 equivalent folds from the chest to the side. Sewing them into place would be annoying, but there wouldn't be any excess cloth, and the chest would look fancier. Mom thought for a minute, then nodded and held her hands out to me. Naturally, I wouldn't be able to sew that with you wearing it. I took off the outfit and handed it to Mom. I then immediately put on several layers of clothes and sighed in relief. It was legitimately cold. I would probably catch a fever after we finished this. I'm jealous, Mine. You get to wear a super fancy outfit. Tuli looked at Mom, tucking the cloth inside enviously. It was true that all the frills were making it look fancy already, but this was only necessary because Tuli was so much bigger than me. Mom wouldn't have to do this if it was a normal pair of sisters, and I felt bad about that. You're just too much bigger than me, Tuli. We're only doing this because it's faster and easier than taking it all apart. And this was an outfit she made for you in the first place, right? It'll still be yours even after we change it a bit. I'm just wearing your hand-me-downs. Oh, that's true. It was the fate of we younger siblings to never wear new clothes. Most of the clothes I wore came from either Tuli or our neighbors, and it was very rare for me to ever wear new clothing. I think I'll make my own hairpin while Mom's busy sewing. I decided to work on my baptism hairpin while Mom was sewing the pleats in. I wanted to take the opportunity to make a new kind of hairpin that was different from the ones I had made before it. Mom, I want to make a hairpin for myself. Can I use your thread? Since I don't need to make a new outfit for you anymore, well, you can use what we need for the hairpin. Last year, it had been a struggle to get enough thread for a hairpin, since she didn't understand what I was doing, but this year we were on the same page, and she gave me some without hesitation. I picked up the fresh thread while feeling a newfound appreciation for the importance of mutual understanding. I think it went like this. I dug through my memories and used my thin needles to sew a small rounded flower in the image of a lily. Tuli finished a hairpin of her own and peered at my hands. Mine, what's this? That flower looks different from Freda's flowers and our handiwork flowers. I'm actually going to put this on the hair stick I'm planning to wear for the ceremony. So you're not going to make one like Freda's, but it was so fancy and pretty. Tuli pursed her lips as she rolled the lily around in her hand. She had liked the rose-shaped flowers a lot. I thought back to the lustrous, delicate roses I had made for Freda and let out a tiny sigh. Even if I tried to make those again, they wouldn't end up looking the same. The quality of the thread was just so different. I didn't think I could make roses like that right now. They don't have to look the same. They'd still be pretty. Here, I'll make them for you. You make my hairpin for me, and now I want to make yours for you. I was so touched by Tuli's words, I decided to ask her to make a rose for me. A large rose that stuck out would be best left to Tuli and her significantly superior sewing skills. Thanks, Tuli. In that case, would you use this thread to make roses a little bigger than the large ones we made for Freda? Do you remember how to make those? I'm not you, Mine. Of course I remember. Oh, I'm sorry for having such a bad memory. I left the rose making to Tuli and got to work on the little flowers. Even at my top speed, I couldn't make them very fast, and by the time I finished 3, Mom had completed sewing the pleats. Mine, try wearing the outfit again. I took off all my shirts but the long sleeve one and put on the outfit again. It was now an off-shoulder dress with the pleated chest area. Thanks to the curving, the sleeves looked like natural curvy drapes. Mom, could you get the sash? I want to try it on. Mom got the wide blue sash for me and tightened it around me, which made the skirt portion of my dress balloon outward. I didn't think it was that special while sewing, but now I see it looks pretty cute. Because I'm cute. My, because I'm a skilled seamstress. We looked at each other and laughed for a bit before his mom spun her shoulders in determination. Just the hem left. It looks cute enough right now, but the hem's simply too long. A dress that ended at Tuli's knees ended at my ankles. I didn't know where this rule came from, but it was known that in these parts, girls younger than 10 wore their skirts to the knees. Incidentally, mini skirts didn't seem to exist at all. At most, kids 1 to 2 years old were so short their skirts intended to reach their knees ended up looking like mini skirts. The annoying thing was that skirts couldn't be too short or too long. 10 to 15-year-olds wore dresses to their shins. Adults generally went to have even their ankles covered. But skirts that long were only worn by women who didn't have to work for a living. My mom, a fine working-class citizen as she was, wore a skirt down to her ankles just like most wives around the neighborhood. I wonder if we could just bundle it up like we did with the shoulders. I think it'll be fine if we bundle up 2 parts to the front and 2 parts in the back. Do you think that'll work, Mom? I think that might just do it. We hefted up 4 parts of the hem and ended up with something that looked like a balloon curtain. Once we sewed the cloth into place, we added small flowers to hide the thread just like we did the hairpins. We then added a drape to make the embroidery look prettier, and that was that. The outfit was done. As expected, it looks like a wealthy young lady's baptism outfit now. That explains it. That outfit made the head priest, I think it was head priest, the old guy, think that she was a child of a wealthy, noble family considering that dress. That explains it. The chest was pleated, the sleeves were wavy, and the hem was ballooned out. The outfit used a lot of spare cloth, and from every angle it looked entirely unlike something a poor commoner would wear. By bundling up the loose parts and sewing them together to forcibly shrink the outfit, we had created a design rate for even the wealthier classes. It clearly didn't match the rest of the wardrobe or even our home itself. This was a lot easier on me than what I had intended to do, but it will stand out a lot, I'm afraid, says Mom, to which Tuli shrugged and pointed to her half-finished hair stick ornament. Isn't it a little late for that? Well, already sticking out with the hairpins and stuff. Even Tuli stuck out enough for Frida to notice her just by wearing a hairpin, unlike everybody else's. The hair stick I was making would definitely stick out just as much, so either way, eyes would be on me. And as Frida said, the hairpins sticking out will be great advertisement for them. We may as well go all the way here. It's cute and we worked hard on it. I wouldn't mind the attention. I'm gonna wear it. I had sacrificed my own body to sickness and the cold to complete the outfit. I won't abandon it here. And not to mention, compared to the frilly miniskirt maid outfit I wore for a high school culture festival back in my Arano days, it wasn't embarrassing at all. It went all the way down to my knees and had a respectable design. What more could I ask for? If you're fine with it, mine, I am too. So with that said, what kind of hairpin are you making there? Mom peered at the rose Tuli was making, clearly interested. Tuli's making big roses for me, so I'm thinking about 10 more little flowers like these. I'll help. Consider this my thanks to you, laughed Mom as she went to get a needle out of her sewing box. Okay, if you want to thank me more, can I have some blue thread and light blue thread too? I want to make about 3 flowers of each color. Well, aren't you clever? How can I say no? Yay, thanks, Mom. We all got to work sewing together, making the hair ornament bit by bit. 3 people working on it at once made things go by super fast. 3 large white lilies, 3 blue flowers, 3 light blue flowers, and 15 white flowers. We finished them all in a single day. How are you going to put these on? Aren't there too many small flowers? That'll be a surprise for when I'm done. Don't watch me. I want it to be a secret, I said with a laugh, but since there was only one place I could make it, no secrets could be kept. The 2 of them pretended not to look, but I could tell they were glancing my way, mouths shut tight to swallow the questions they wanted to ask. It was kind of funny. I'm back! Whew, today really took a lot out of me. Spent the whole day shoveling snow and taking care of drunks, said Dad as he came inside. He had brushed the snow off him before entering the building, but there was still some on him. Tuli and I brushed that off him while I asked about my hair stick. Dad, did you finish the hair stick I wanted for my baptism? Yeah, give me a sec. Dad gave a confident grin and took out a well-carved hair stick from the storage room. I couldn't help but smile as I saw how smooth and polished it was, which showed how much time he had spent carving it. It's really pretty, and it's so smooth there's not a single bump on it. Thanks, Dad. I sewed the 3 white roses onto a piece of cloth, which I then sewed onto the hole of the stick. I then pushed the needle through the cloth and worked my way down, attaching flowers to it like a hanging wisteria flower. First were the blue flowers, then the light blue flowers, and finally the white flowers. 5 white flowers. I ended up with 3 columns and 7 rows of flowers, making a gradient of colors. I had mimicked the design of a yukata hair ornament I had seen in my Urano days, and it looked even better than expected. Wow, it flutters. This is so cute, Mine. Try it on. Put on the baptism outfit while you're at it. I want to see it too, added Dad. Yes, please do. I want to see what it looks like when you're not wearing the long-sleeved shirt beneath it. Overwhelmed by my family's pressure, I changed into the outfit. I then slid the baptism hair stick in next to my usual hair stick. I could feel the fluttering small flowers hitting my hair. Well, Mine, that's incredible. Everyone's gonna think you're the daughter of some wealthy family for sure. It looks a lot cuter and special than what I saw Free wearing back then. You really can't tell it's a hand-me-down. Dad definitely complimented both me and his wife's sewing abilities while looking at the outfit in awe. Mom shook her head with a wry smile and tossed some sharp words at him. Now, the materials used to make Frida's clothes are so much higher quality than what I used here that you're just being rude. But still, this looks a lot cuter and fancier than what you'd expect from a little reworking. You can just do so much more when you have extra cloth to work with. I'm saying that with the same materials, your clothes would be better. Goodness, Gunter, you always have a comeback. When my parents were going off into their own world, it was honestly kind of hard to watch them flirt in a manner which could only be described as lovey-dovey. I would rather they not show romantic fulfillment in front of me, the girl who never had a single boyfriend in her life on Earth. Oh! What returned me to reality and ended my angry internal rant was a surprise comment from Thule, who had slipped behind me to look at my hairpin. It's cute. Super cute, Mine. Your fancy clothes are cute too, but the hairpin's doubly cute. It's fun to watch since it sways around and your hair is really dark like the night sky, so the white flowers stand out a lot. I was thinking I might be making the roses too big, but now that they're on you, I see they're just the right size. Wait. Well, what can I say? Thule is my guardian angel. I obeyed the call of her voice and turned my back to my parents. Merely removing them from my vision as they flirted was enough to make me feel better. My hair's a lot heavier than your wavy hair, so without a flashy hairpin, it'd have trouble standing out with the outfit. I said, already shivering from how thin the outfit was. Goosebumps covered my body, and I was starting to feel an ominous chill running up my spine. Achoo! My sneeze surprised my parents, and they had them leaning towards me. Mine, that's enough of that outfit. Hurry and change so you can get into bed. At this rate, you'll catch another fever. Okay, achoo! I think it's a little late for that, Mom. My back's shivering, but my neck's heating up. They hurriedly changed me into my pajamas and sent me to bed, but I could feel my head heating up. I sank into the scratchy straw mattress beneath me and let out a sigh. Well, I expected this from the start, so this didn't sting as much as it could have. Maybe one day my body will get stronger. One day. Okay. I think I'm going to end that off here. I'll see you guys next time.